You know how some people romanticize the grind? Like they'll post a photo of their sad desk salad with a caption like, "Rise and grind." Yeah. My grind didn't come with hashtags. It came with off-brand ramen, dollar store shampoo, and a room so cold in winter I once defrosted my socks with a hair dryer. I started working at 15. Not because I was ambitious. Because I had to. My parents, Greg and Diane, believed in tough love, except they skipped the love part. Their philosophy? If you wanted something, you earned it. Even if that something was dinner. They weren't cruel in the storybook way. No broken bones or bruises. Just strategic indifference. My younger brother, Landon, got birthday parties and video games. I got lectures about self-reliance and a chore list that looked like a prison sentence. When I asked if they could help with college applications, my mom laughed and said, "College? Better start saving, champ." That was her nickname for me. Not sweetheart or kiddo. Just champ. Like I was a weirdly disappointing draft pick. So I did. I worked every shift I could. Gas station. Stockroom. One summer I cleaned gutters with a guy named Mel who played polka on his Bluetooth speaker and called birds sky rats. I saved every dime. I also got really good at stretching $1. Pro tip: if you crush the noodles in the bag before cooking them, it feels like you're eating more. I called it crunchy confetti soup. It was depressing, but it got me through. By the time I graduated high school, I had a little under $4,000 saved. Not much, but enough for community college, a beat-up laptop, and some books that looked like they'd been chewed on by squirrels. Nobody came to my graduation. Not because they forgot, but because Landon had a really important soccer camp that day. I still have the text my dad sent. "Congrats. Sorry. Timing didn't work out." That was it. No cake. No hug. Just a thumbs up emoji 2 hours later. But I made it. I worked, studied, and moved out at 19 into a tiny apartment with cracked tiles and a stove that made a terrifying hissing noise whenever I turned it on. Still, it was mine. And you know what? I graduated. No loans. No debt. Just a business degree earned one late shift and $1 noodle pack at a time. Meanwhile, Landon? He took time to find himself. Which, in his case, meant taking shirtless selfies in Bali, collaborating with skincare brands and making videos like How to Manifest a Six-Figure Mindset. He dropped out after 2 semesters, announced he was becoming an influencer, and started posting reels of him fake crying in hammocks while talking about the haters. You can probably guess who funded that little journey. Yup. Greg and Diane. Suddenly their whole no handouts mantra disappeared faster than Landon's GPA. He got a ring light, a MacBook, and a 6-month trip to build his brand. I got a holiday card with no money inside and a note that said, "Hope you're still working hard, champ." But I didn't care. I was too busy building. After college, I got a warehouse job during the day and poured concrete at night. I learned the ropes, saved up, and eventually started my own small logistics company. Just 3 guys, a rented truck, and a whole lot of caffeine. Brick by brick I grew it. Slow. Ugly. But real. I reinvested every cent, bought another truck. Hired 2 more guys. Got a proper office, if you can call an old mechanic's garage with a dented vending machine an office. Still, it was mine. Then, one morning, I got a letter. Not a bill. Not a junk ad. A subpoena. My parents were suing me. For real. And the reason? They believed I owed them support because they'd invested so much in Landon's future, and he hadn't monetized yet. I actually read it 3 times. Thought it was a prank. Called the court clerk just to make sure it wasn't a fake. Nope. It was real. They were dragging me into court. Because I wouldn't bankroll my brother's influencer career. I sat down in my office chair, the one with duct tape on the armrest, and just started laughing. Not because it was funny. Because it was so ridiculous, it broke something inside me. They didn't lift a finger when I was surviving on off-brand noodles. And now they wanted me to pay for Landon's lighting setup? No. Hell no. But if they wanted a war, they were about to get it. When I first showed the subpoena to my business partner, Diego, he thought I was joking. He read it, blinked twice, then said, "Wait, so they're suing you because you're not sponsoring your brother's TikToks?" I nodded. He burst out laughing, nearly spilled coffee on our shipping schedule. I wasn't laughing. Sure, it sounded ridiculous, but the paperwork was real. Filed by an actual attorney. Not even a family lawyer, a firm. They'd drafted this nonsense like it was some righteous crusade. Apparently I had benefited from familial emotional detachment, and now owed reciprocal restitution toward Landon's brand recovery. What? Was I being punked by a legal thesaurus? And the worst part? They had the audacity to call me financially selfish. Me. The guy who once rationed packets of hot sauce as flavor enhancers because I couldn't afford real seasoning. The same week I got served, Landon posted a video titled, "When Your Own Brother Blocks Your Blessings." He wasn't crying. He was ugly crying. Theatrical sobs. Fake tears that paused just long enough for him to check if his ring light was still on. In the caption, he wrote, "Some people will only love you if you're broke. Once you rise, they hate your glow broken heart." I nearly choked on my sandwich. What glow? He hadn't had a steady job in 4 years. His most viral moment was when a seagull stole his phone mid-live stream. I didn't respond. I never commented. Never clapped back. But privately, I started building a file. Screenshots. Bank statements. Old messages. Every birthday I was forgotten, every event I was excluded from, every time they laughed at my goals while writing checks for Landon's content trips. You know what they say, if someone drags you into a courtroom, bring receipts. Still, the emotional whiplash? That hit harder. I found myself asking, how did it even get to this point? I wasn't angry they didn't help me. That's just how it was. I accepted it early. What hurt? The fact that the moment I made something of myself, something they never believed I could, they tried to claim it. Like I was just a vending machine for their bad investments. Even the lawyer's letter made me laugh, not because it was funny, but because they included a line that said, "Landon's platform aligns with values of emotional expression and familial unity." Oh. So now unity mattered? Back when I was eating lunch in the janitor's closet at school so I could hide my dollar store sandwiches, nobody cared about unity. Back when I got pneumonia from working a night shift in a cold warehouse and couldn't afford medicine, unity wasn't in fashion yet. I kept quiet about the lawsuit. Didn't post about it. Didn't rant to friends or vent on social media. But something in me shifted. I didn't want to just win the case. I wanted them to see who I had become, without them. I wanted it to burn. A week later, I walked into the lawyer's office with a folder so thick it looked like I was submitting a doctoral thesis on why I owe you nothing. Inside? My full financial history since 15. Receipts from my first job to now. College transcripts. A copy of the text where my mom said, "If you want college, pay for it yourself. We're investing in Landon." Screenshots of every trip they funded for him. The $6,500 microphone he needed for a failed podcast. And finally, a note I wrote by hand. "Respectfully, I built this life on silence, ramen, and concrete. Your lawsuit is dismissed, in spirit and soon in court." Then I got to work. I called in favors. Found a former lawyer friend who hated bullies. She read the case, smirked, and said, "They've handed you their own embarrassment on a platter." By Friday, I had a response filed. By Monday, I was trending. Because someone, not me, leaked the story. The court docket was public, and a local finance blogger picked it up. The headline? Parents sue son for refusing to fund influencer brother. Internet declares him a hero. Landon made a video to clear the air. It did not go well. He tried to cry again. The ring light glitched mid-rant. And in a now iconic clip, he shouted, He's not even that successful. Like, what does he even do? Deliver boxes? No, Landon. I own the company that delivers boxes. Big difference. By Tuesday morning, I had 12 missed calls from my dad. That was a record. Not because he was worried about me, oh no. This wasn't concerned father energy. This was the tone of a man who just realized his lawn chair had been yanked out from under him mid-barbecue. His first voicemail was gruff and stiff. This lawsuit was never supposed to be public. Call me back. Let's handle this like family. Like family? That was Rich. My last birthday, he sent me a picture of Landon's new camera setup and wrote, "Look what your brother got." No. Happy birthday. No punctuation. Next message? You're blowing this out of proportion. Third message? You need to grow up. By the fifth voicemail, he dropped the calm act entirely. If this ruins your mother's name, I hope you're happy. Right. Because her name being attached to a lawsuit against her own child was somehow my fault. Meanwhile, Landon had gone full damage control. He deleted all his crying videos, changed his Instagram bio to "just a guy trying to heal Dove," and started reposting inspirational quotes like, "Be the person who breaks the cycle." Breaks the cycle? Bro, you are the cycle. The group chat, yes, the dreaded family group chat, exploded. Dozens of messages flying in, most from extended relatives who had apparently just found out I existed. And Teresa. This is so sad. What happened to love in this family? Uncle Joe. Can't we just all get together for dinner and talk it out? Cousin Brian. Hey, real quick, do you do shipping to Canada? My mom finally messaged me directly. Please call me. We need to talk. No apology. No regret. Just, we need to talk. As if I was a rogue employee, not a son they'd ignored for over a decade. I stared at that message for a full minute before replying. You needed to talk when I was 15 and skipping meals. You needed to talk when you skipped my graduation for a dog's birthday party. I'm not available anymore. Sent. Read. No reply. And then, the cherry on top, Landon went live. He started the stream with sunglasses and a "haters gonna hate" speech, but when the comments were flooded with clown emojis and people calling him Mr. Exposure Therapy, he snapped. He pointed straight into the camera and yelled, "My brother's just mad because I'm the face of this family." I don't know what face he thought he was rocking, but that face looked one eyebrow away from a meltdown. One commenter wrote, "Face of the family? Bro, he's the one paying for the family." Oof. After that, he rage quit the stream and posted a cryptic black square to his grid. Meanwhile, I was just working. You know, the thing they always said I wasn't built for. We had a major shipment going out that week, and I spent 10 hours on a forklift instead of replying to their chaos. I was tired, covered in warehouse grime, but weirdly calm. Because for the first time, I was the one not reacting. They could spiral. They could post and panic. I had built something that couldn't be swayed by their opinions anymore. And still, part of me was bracing for impact. Because the court date was set. 2 weeks. And my lawyer, bless her, told me something that changed everything. They're not just asking for you to fund Landon's brand, Eli. They're asking for a portion of your business. Retroactively. I blinked. Wait. Like equity? She nodded. Yep. They're claiming emotional damages and family betrayal, saying you used family trauma as fuel for success. So, technically, they think they helped you grow, and now they want a cut. I had to sit down. They wanted shares of a business they mocked from the beginning? A business I built while they were booking cruises with Landon and posting captions like, "So proud of our content king." I don't know what stunned me more, the audacity, or the fact that they really thought this would work. I looked at my lawyer and said, "Let's go scorched earth." She smiled. Already drafted it. Preparing for court meant digging through more than old pay stubs and receipts. It meant digging through memories I'd buried just to function. My lawyer, Tessa, asked, "Do you have anything emotional we can use? Messages, photos, anything that shows their neglect?" I hesitated. Not because I didn't have any, but because I had too many. I opened a folder labeled, "Don't look unless you have to." Inside were screenshots of birthday texts I never got. Photos of Landon's elaborate graduation party for completing one online course. A blurry photo of me eating instant noodles with a plastic fork while sitting on a flipped laundry basket in my first apartment. And one voicemail I'd saved for years. My dad's voice, clear as day. "You're on your own, Eli. We have Landon to think about now." That wasn't from a decade ago. That was from 3 years ago, right after I called to tell them I'd opened my business. I'd expected, maybe not congratulations, but at least acknowledgement. Instead, I got that message. I remember staring at my cracked phone screen, sitting on the edge of a fold-out cot I used as a bed, and feeling nothing. Not sadness. Not even rage. Just numb. Like this was confirmation of what I already knew. Tessa listened to the voicemail twice. Then looked at me and said, "They're going to regret this." That week, I was laser-focused. I filed additional evidence, wrote my own statement, and even included a screenshot of the time my mom posted. Raising successful kids is easy when you pour love into them. Right under a photo of Landon holding a ring light like it was a Nobel Prize. Meanwhile, Landon tried to pivot. He started making inspirational TikToks. One was him sipping coffee and saying, "Sometimes the ones who pretend to love you are the first to abandon you." With a dramatic stare into the distance like he was auditioning for a budget soap opera. But the comments weren't buying it. "Bro, this you?" Attached was a screenshot of the lawsuit. "Did you mean sue you instead of abandon you? Can I Venmo you 3 cents for your emotional damages?" My favorite? I lived on instant noodles too. Where's my lawsuit, king? But there was one message I didn't expect. From my cousin Maya. She was always quiet at family events, the one person who didn't look at me like I was chewing with my mouth open just by existing. Her message? "Hey. I just found out everything. I didn't know. I'm sorry. If you need anything, even just a witness statement, I'm here." That hit harder than it should have. I didn't know how much I needed someone, anyone, to say that. "Even once," I replied. "Thanks, Maya. Honestly, just saying that already helped." But it planted a seed. Maybe I wasn't crazy. Maybe I wasn't overreacting. Maybe surviving on microwave soup and duct-taped shoes while your parents fund your brother's Bali photoshoots isn't normal family dynamics. A few days later, I found another message. From Landon. Not a public post. A private DM. "You're really gonna let this destroy everything? Fine. You win. Hope you're proud. You've turned everyone against me." I stared at that message. Then sent back a single sentence. "No, Landon, you did that all by yourself." And I left it there. The court date was now 6 days away. And I wasn't walking in there as the ramen-eating kid anymore. I was walking in as someone they couldn't rewrite. The courthouse smelled like old paper, stress, and bitter coffee. I wore the only suit I owned, pressed, clean, but still had a slight stain on the inside of the cuff from a celebratory taco incident during my company's first profitable quarter. Landon arrived in a beige turtleneck and oversized sunglasses. Like he was being papped outside a Netflix audition. My parents came in behind him, stiff and overdressed. My dad refused to look at me. My mom gave me a nod that tried to say, "We're still your parents," but landed somewhere between awkward guilt and retail manager energy. Their lawyer was polished, clearly expensive. Spoke like he was narrating a documentary about rare plants. Mine? Tessa was in flats and a slightly wrinkled blazer, sipping lukewarm coffee with a look that said, "I will gut you with words and sleep like a baby after." The judge looked bored, until he read the case. Then his left eyebrow did this little twitch. Like it couldn't believe what it was reading. He began dryly. "So, to clarify, the plaintiffs, the parents, are suing their son, the defendant, for not financially supporting their other son's social media aspirations." Landon whispered something to their lawyer. The man stood and corrected. "Your Honor, We'd like to frame this as an emotional obligation stemming from long-standing family dynamics and disproportionate support distribution. The judge held up a hand. Let's not word salad this. Did he or did he not sign any agreement to support his brother? Silence. Did he borrow funds from his parents that would legally bind him? Nope. Was he contractually involved in his brother's brand? I almost laughed. Finally, the judge turned to me. Mr. Rhodes, would you like to make a statement? I stood, heart hammering, and said, I worked since I was 15. Paid my way through college. Built a business without a dime of help. My parents never supported me, financially or emotionally, but they poured thousands into my brother's influencer dream. Now that I've built something stable, they want a cut. Not because they helped, but because they didn't. I handed over the folder. Tessa had labeled it Exhibit, Regret. Inside? Everything. The voicemail. The texts. The birthday cards I never got. The photos of Landon's all-expense paid. Brand retreats. Even a receipt for a $7,800 drone he crashed into a pool during a failed inspirational flyover. The judge leafed through it. Then sighed. This is extensive. Landon suddenly stood. Can I speak? The judge, probably against his better judgment, allowed it. And Landon, oh Landon, gave a speech for the ages. This isn't just about money. This is about betrayal. He's making me look like a joke. I coughed. Quietly. But with just enough timing to land right on. Joke. He's turned the internet against me. I was supposed to be the face of our family. The inspiration. But he's manipulated everything. Even my dad looked uncomfortable. The judge replied with a tone so dry it could have sandpapered wood. Mr. Rhodes, are you alleging that your brother's success harmed your brand? Landon blinked. Yes. And you're requesting, what? Damages? Or a share of his company? Both. The courtroom went silent. Even the court reporters typing paused, like she needed a moment to absorb that stupidity. Then it was my turn again. I turned to the judge and said calmly, Your Honor, I didn't ask for this. But since I'm here, I'd like to submit one more thing. I handed over a screenshot. It was from a family chat, dated years ago. My mom had written, Let him figure it out. He always lands on his feet. We're focused on Landon now. No reply from anyone. Just silence. The judge reviewed it. Then closed the folder. Case dismissed. Just like that. No deliberation. No drawn-out speech. Just 3 syllables that cracked like a whip. Landon gasped like he'd been slapped with a frozen fish. My parents didn't say a word. I nodded once. Turned. Walked out. And the second, the courthouse doors closed behind me? I let out a single breath I didn't realize I'd been holding since I was 15. The courthouse steps felt like a red carpet. Not because I was famous. Because apparently, someone had leaked a video clip of the hearing. By the time I reached my car, my phone had 48 unread messages and a dozen missed calls. My inbox? Flooded. My company's Instagram? Blowing up. The clip making the rounds? Landon's now iconic courtroom meltdown. I was supposed to be the face of this family. Overlaid with sad violin music and a slow zoom on the judge's deadpan expression. Someone even edited in a clown nose. I couldn't make this up if I tried. The meme pages had a field day. One headline read, Influencer sues brother for not paying his rent. Gets dismissed like a bad sponsorship deal. The comment sections were brutal. Bro's face card declined. Imagine losing in court and in the algorithm. Plot twist, Eli's the real influencer here. But I stayed quiet. I didn't gloat. I didn't post victory speeches. I just went back to work. Orders had tripled since the case made the rounds. Small businesses were tagging me in posts like, Support the guy who said no to clout chasers. Someone even sent us cupcakes with, Case dismissed, written in frosting. Landon, meanwhile, tried to pivot again. This time? Accountability content. He posted a teary-eyed apology titled, "What the Court Taught Me About Myself." In it, he sat by a window holding a candle, for dramatic lighting, obviously, and said things like, "Sometimes, healing looks like being humbled by the system. Bro, you weren't humbled by the system. You were humbled by receipts." But my favorite part? He still wore the same beige turtleneck. It had become its own meme. A Twitter user posted, "If he shows up in that turtleneck again, the judge should fine him for emotional damage to the public." And then came the email. From my mom. No greeting. No apology. Just, "We never intended for it to go this far. You embarrassed us publicly. Are you happy now?" I didn't answer. Because what could I possibly say? "You sued me. Because I refused to bankroll your favorite child's ring light addiction. You stood beside him while he accused me of being selfish, after I spent most of my life invisible, scraping change from couch cushions to afford gas to my warehouse job." But no, I didn't answer her. Instead, I printed the email and framed it. It now sits in my office right above my degree, the one I earned while living on instant noodles, in a jacket I found at a thrift store for $6. Just below that, a plaque. Gifted by my team after the case was dismissed. It reads, "Built from scratch. Owes no one. Especially not that guy." I laughed so hard when I opened it, I nearly choked on my coffee. But the final moment? That came 2 weeks later. I got a call from a corporate client. Big fish. Someone I'd been pitching for months. He said, "We saw how you handled that circus. Quiet. Professional. Real. We'd like to move forward." I hung up. Let it sink in. Then forwarded the news to Tessa, with a note. "Tell their lawyer I'll be too busy building to fund any more delusions." A few months passed. No lawsuits. No crying live streams. Just peace. My business kept growing. We moved out of the old garage and into a real office. Glass doors, custom desks, even a proper coffee machine that didn't hiss like a feral cat. I finally hired a full team. Gave them benefits. Holiday bonuses. Took care of people the way I wish someone had taken care of me. And me? I started sleeping. Not just the 4 hours then back to the forklift kind of sleep. Real sleep. The kind where your brain isn't replaying every moment someone told you, "You'll never make it without us." And yet, like clockwork, my family couldn't help themselves. It started with a Facebook post. My mom uploaded a photo collage titled, "Family Through the Years." Except it wasn't. It was Landon through the years. Baby Landon. Soccer Landon. Graduation Landon, well, graduation. He'd quit 2 semesters in, remember? Then one solo photo of the 2 of them holding hands at a beach resort. Caption? "We did everything for you, son. So proud of your journey. Love, Mom and Dad." No mention of the other son. You know. The one they sued. My phone buzzed. Maya again. "So you've been airbrushed out of family history now, huh?" I replied. Apparently I never existed. Which is wild considering I paid for Landon's Bali trip, unknowingly. We joked, but it stung. Not because I needed their public praise, but because even after the public embarrassment, the loss, the memes, the dismissal, they were still doubling down. Still pretending none of it happened. But here's the thing. I didn't want revenge anymore. I wanted proof. Proof that I could build something so solid, so undeniably mine, that they'd have no choice but to see it, whether they liked it or not. So I planned something. Quietly. A 5-year anniversary gala for my company. No press. No cameras. Just people who mattered. Staff, partners, clients, friends. The ones who'd helped build it with me. I rented a venue. Nice one. Not flashy, but clean, modern. Overlooking the river. String lights. A jazz trio. A bar with drinks named after warehouse disasters. Our forklift IPA was a hit. The banner across the entrance? "Thank you for believing in what they said would never work." Inside, I gave a short speech. Nothing grand. Just thanked everyone who showed up for me, when no one else did. I didn't mention my family. Didn't have to. Because later that night, Landon showed up. Uninvited. In another beige turtleneck. At this point, I think the man had a drawer full. He hovered by the check-in desk like he was waiting to be asked inside. One of my employees politely approached him. Sorry, this is a private event. He tried name-dropping me. I'm his brother. My staffer, a guy named Joel, looked at the list and said, Your name's not here. Sorry. He left. But not before catching sight of the banner. I watched him from the balcony. He stared at it for a long moment. Then got in his car and drove off. No fight. No scene. Just that quiet moment where a man realizes the door he tried to force open now has a lock he doesn't even have the key for. I didn't feel joy. Or anger. I felt finished. Not in a bitter way. In a finally free way. A few weeks after the gala, I got a letter. Handwritten. From my mom. It wasn't long. We didn't mean to hurt you. We just thought Landon had a better chance of making it. We thought you'd be fine. You always were. Please don't cut us out forever. No apology. No accountability. Just that old line again. You always were fine. That phrase had haunted me for years. It was the excuse for everything, forgetting birthdays, missing graduation, never helping with college. Because I was the resilient one. The one who didn't cry. The one who kept showing up, even when the fridge was empty and the power was off. They used my strength as a reason to ignore me. But strength has a limit. And I'd hit mine years ago. I folded the letter. Didn't respond. Instead, I went to work. We had a new campaign launching, one that highlighted small business founders who started with nothing. I included a short video of my own story. No drama. No bitterness. Just facts. Started at 15. No help. Built from scratch. Still standing. It went viral within 48 hours. Not because I was flashy, but because people recognized it. The struggle. The silence. The being overlooked until it was convenient. I started getting messages from strangers. Your story made me feel less alone. I cried watching your reel. My family picked my sister too. Just started my own thing. Instant noodles still hit though. That last one made me laugh out loud. And then came the kicker. One of our new hires, a junior marketing assistant, knocked on my office door one morning and asked, Hey, do you want to see this? It's trending. She handed me her phone. It was a screenshot of a LinkedIn post from Landon. Proud to announce I'm pivoting into mentorship for digital creators. Learning from my journey. If anyone needs advice, my DMs are open. Comments were disabled. I handed the phone back, chuckled, and said, Let him pivot. I already turned the page. Now? I sleep. I laugh. I hire people who were once overlooked, just like me. I still keep the lawsuit paperwork. Not out of spite. Just as a reminder. You don't owe anyone the version of yourself they never believed in. Especially the ones who only show up when you've already built the table, and want a seat they never earned. They say revenge is sweet. But peace? Peace is quieter. Stronger. And it lasts longer than any viral post ever could.